Willie, my goodness, he's kind of a Swiss Army knife. He can
Yeah.
play inside, he can play outside. I asked him this question yesterday, but your view is more important. The best way you think to maximize his skill set, is it a lot inside, occasionally off the edge as a blitzer or in run support? What's the best way to use Willie Gay?
Yeah, well, I would say probably initially from everything that I had known about him coming in, he was a really good prospect coming out. I really liked him, coming out of Mississippi State. So I would have answered that, a few months ago purely as an inside guy. But the more you're around a player on the daily, on the practice field, seeing what he can do, I like that. I've never thought of him as that Swiss Army knife, but he can do a lot of different things. He's obviously physical enough and strong enough to play inside. He's fast enough and quick enough and athletic enough to play out in space. He's got some blitz ability. So he's been, and he's been great for our room. I mentioned before when I talked to you guys in the spring that it was, losing a Duke Riley and an Anthony Walker who were really great pros. That's a lot when you lose guys like that in your room and on your defense, on your team. Willie's been a great addition. He comes to work every day. He's got a bounce in his step. He's got a great personality, and he's a really, really good football player too. So he's been a nice addition.
Sorry about the bluntness of this next question, but just
I'll
to
be blunt.
clarify this,
I'm okay with that.
Is Tyrell Dotson your starter next to Jordan?
Yes, but I will also answer that we go first team, second team, third team. T. Dot has gotten all the work with the ones. KJ Britt has gotten all the work with the twos. And KJ's had a phenomenal camp. So, we're all about competition. We don't have to post a depth chart or get ready to, trot guys out it's not like we play a game tomorrow. So we got a lot of time, a lot of practice, but yes, T-Dot is, and he's having an amazing camp. So very happy with really all four guys, Jordan, Willie, T-Dot, KJ, really excited about all of them. And, Channing Tyndall's probably having his best training camp that he's had as a pro. So I got a great room. I'm excited about all those guys.
I had one last thing for you. I know obviously some inside linebacker coaches and defensive coordinators like leaving the same two inside guys on the field all the time. With you knowing what a presence Willie has been, obviously KJ as well, but yeah. Willie specifically, do you need to create snaps for him the way he's looked the first 2 weeks here? Yeah,
I think it's standard. It's not traditional that you rotate defensive linemen, obviously. You rotate DBs when you're going from base to nickel and things like that. Usually, traditionally, you're starting two inside backers or three inside linebackers if you're a 4-3. Don't rotate. But that's not. There's no rule against it. We did it last year with David Long and Anthony Walker. We did it in a probably 3 or 4 games before Anthony took over. So it's not the norm, but you absolutely can do that. In addition to just finding different packages and different things that you can get those guys on the field, because it's a champagne problem to have that we have 4 inside linebackers that have all started in this league and played a lot of football. So that's a good problem.
Coach, I thought Jordan Brooks belonged in the Pro Bowl last year, but that's neither here nor there.
I did too.
As he continues to progress here, what stands out about the way he's grown from what he showed on tape last year?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like as a coach when you change teams, you kind of come in, you're the new guy, you don't, Jordan I don't want to say Jordan felt his way through anything when he first got here last year, but his personality is, he's very quiet. And I think at first we were kind of like, man, come on, JB. But that's his personality. He's a reserved guy. But I tell you what, it didn't take him long for everyone around him to see his play and be like, man, this guy can play. And then I think he just got more comfortable the more and more he was here. And by the time, we got through the first quarter of the season, he not only was one of our leaders on the field as a player making plays, He was the guy that, hey, when something needed to be said, he said it. And he's one of those guys, he doesn't talk a lot. So when he does talk, it has impact. And he's, he's playing great for us. He shows up every single day and works. And he's been an incredible leader for us, too, in the year and a half that he's been here.
Starting with Storm, what has he shown you that's allowed him to take a step and
Yeah.
be in contention to potentially be a starter?
Storm's consistency has been his biggest strength this offseason. Last year, he was getting his feet under him and playing with great strain, playing with great effort, applying technique, but it was all coming at him fast, and he was learning on the fly, where this offseason and through this preseason, he's been able to really just focus on applying technique, but now taking in information. So seeing what the offense is giving him, being able to play with some more anticipation. So that's where you see he's stacking days of consistent play. So that, to me, that's been his biggest strength so far.
Would you feel comfortable if he were starting for you on September 7th? I know there's a long way to go.
Yeah, I mean, our focus right now is just developing a play style and technique. These guys are going out there, and they're going to build trust through consistency over time. So as long as our guys continue to do that, the guys who show they'll do that at the highest ability and the highest kind of production rate, those are the guys that'll earn those spots.
Mike said yesterday that Cam Smith has to be on the field. What has held him back, and how has his offseason and camp been when he's been healthy?
Yeah, he's been stacking days and he's been doing great. But yeah, I agree. For him to continue to progress, we need him on the field. So whatever those individual things are that have shown up, that have kept him off, we need those to alleviate so we can get him on the field and continue to progress his technique.
And I know Brian Duker said last year he's got to change his body. Has he? Has he gained weight? Has he lost weight? What exactly has he done?
The specifics of that, I don't know to say exactly right now. But in terms of his ability to stay healthy and stay on the field, he's improved that. So whatever he had to do with the strength staff, he put the work in through the offseason to be able to be more consistent.
How's Kendall Sheffield look to you, and is he very much in the mix for one of those two outside starting jobs?
He's been phenomenal. I mean, he came in a rookie mini camp as a veteran and earned his way all the way to where you see him producing right now on the field. So he's been phenomenal.
And then Adams and Robinson, the two rookies, has either stood out at all, or is?
Yeah, they both have great strengths. BJ is kind of like that corner mindset. You know, he doesn't get shaken. He thinks he's going to win every rep, and he's got the ability to win every rep. So he's got that mindset you need to play on the outside. Ethan on the inside is extremely versatile, has great technique, but also sees the game well and is really savvy for a young player. So both of them are getting going, but really excited about what they've shown so far.
I want to ask you about John Saunders. What has stood out to you about him? What do you like on the college tape? What have you liked out here?
On the college tape and here, really what he's shown is that he has very good instincts to get the ball back and is a physical safety, both of which has shown up. He's done a nice job taking the ball away in practice, and his physicality consistently shows up. He's also like sneaky, very funny in a dry way, which we appreciate about John.
What is the importance of having added a guy like him here? Obviously, the guy who's had so many great years and accomplished so much with a group like yours, and having him in there to be something to look up to.
The biggest thing Minka does is he brings a great player to the secondary, right? Like he does a heck of a job on the back end. He's a very smart player, gets the ball back, is very versatile, and can be used in a ton of ways. So it just makes our secondary better immediately just from adding a good player right there. But I think on top of that, what Minka brings is that he's a really good person and a really good professional. So I think the off-the-field stuff just gives some of our younger players as somebody to look after, okay, this is how it's done, and just someone that they can try to emulate a little bit.
With Patrick Morris, have you seen much this camp to leave you encouraged, or has it been sort of a steady camp without any flash plays?
Yeah, I don't know that he's had necessarily the flash plays, but the steadiness is something I'm very comfortable with as well. A guy that goes out, does his job, he's where we expect him to be, the communication's right and all those things. So I think sometimes, the splash plays can be a result of a variety of things, and you can have a stretch where you played a really good ball but didn't necessarily make a splash play. So I'm confident he'll have some of those opportunities here coming up.
And what does Elijah have from a defensive skill standpoint that you think he could potentially assume a bigger role if needed?
I think the skill set that Elijah shows, obviously he's played plenty of reps for us on defense, but been a very good special teams player as well. And I think in regard to what he's shown, I think on special teams he consistently shows that he can play in space and get tackles and get to the ball and get it down. And that same skill set, that athleticism, that speed that makes him a good special teams player is the things that make us encouraged about his defensive role as well.
One last guy, Brian. Jason Marshall Jr., skills he's shown you so far.
Jason Marshall has shown be a big physical corner that has good movement skills. So, had a really nice interception the other day in practice. Like his physicality, like his versatility, good movement, good quickness, good hips. He's a guy we're excited about in the draft, and he's come out and just continues to grow our excitement about him and encouragement that I think he'll be a good player for us. And yeah.
With the two starting corners from last year no longer here, with Cater going down, do you, Anthony, Mike, Matthew worry, do we have enough back here?
I don't know. Let me phrase it this way. Okay, there's a bunch of guys that maybe you guys haven't seen. You guys are probably a little bit more worried than I'm very encouraged about the guys that have gone out every day. I like the way the guys are going about it. I like the way they're executing. So, no, I don't have concerns about that. I feel very good about the guys we have. There's some guys that maybe don't have the stripes on the walls yet, but they are going about it the right way, and they're going to have good seasons.
How would you evaluate the progress of Kenneth Grant?
I think KG's doing a good job so far. I think first training camp, 4 padded days, maybe however many we've had. 3, 4, I don't know how many. 4 padded days, okay? I think the biggest thing with linemen is those are where you really get to see how we're doing. Because when you don't have pads on, there's a lot of protect the team and things you're working on. You don't really know if you're going to finish a move and pass rush and stuff like that. Run game, our offensive line's protecting the team. But I think he's working himself into shape. I think he works extremely hard. Very smart player. I would say that's the thing that's impressive, learning multiple spots and stuff like that. Pleased where he's at. But, he knows we got a long way to go and fired up for these next couple of practices here and taking into the joints in the games.
Awesome. The last couple of years, it seems like there's been an emphasis on the line of scrimmage, both through the draft and free agency. James Daniels locking Sealer up, the draftees. What have you seen from those trench battles out here, and how is that going to help you in the regular season?
Yeah, I think I tell our guys all the time, as a coach, when I came up in coaching, everybody says the game starts up front. You never hear anybody say the game starts in the back, right? Whether you're playing Little League, whatever you're doing. And I think that it's simple, but it's cliche, but that's just the way I look at it. And I think the investment on the lines are phenomenal. I think, you asked about James Daniels. I think he's doing a heck of a job. And we've actually battled him, when he was in Pittsburgh. We played here on a Sunday night game. And I think that the young guard, Jonah's doing a heck of a job too. Getting Brew out there the other day, it's, you've got it's crazy, but it's pretty much a veteran line, Everybody's pretty much played, and the 2 young rookies are battling it out, which that's exciting to see, when they go to one-on-ones, when they go to team. And I think what I'm ultra excited for, and we are as a team, is okay, how are we building this team now as we go to joint practices? And you're not seeing any one-on-ones trying to freaking hurt anybody out. Now we're on the same team. It's kind of reached that point in camp, so we're taking it to the joints, and we're excited about that.
Some of your depth, it seems like Dickerson and Butler have flashed. What do you think about your D-line depth?
Absolutely. I think the depth, I think this is, I would say in my time here, this is kind of the deepest unit where you really feel all right, we have 9 guys in the room, all these guys have an opportunity to make it. And I think when you have the unique mix of rookies that we've invested in, which we got 4 of them, and then you have the veterans who are kind of in that, I use Deshaun Hand as an example, they're kind of in that mold to me. Okay, maybe they didn't really get a fair shake somewhere else. Maybe they had a couple different coaches, fixed a couple different systems in a few years. Here we go. Come, show up to OTAs every day. Let's go through training camp and let's battle. And they're doing a heck of a job. Pleased with all their progress. And the young bucks are coming along as well. They're getting used to this heat.
What's Dickerson's strength? Because I see him out there. He makes plays just about every day. And how could you see him carving out a role for himself?
Yeah, I think Matt's strength is his competitiveness and his effort. Like, bar none, he's a physical player at the point of attack that is high motor. So instantaneously, like, he's going to outcompete for some, like, on the finish of plays and stuff like that. I think he's learned how to play square to the line of scrimmage, technically. And I think carving out a role for him, like, as an early down player that can grow into other roles, but that can be solid for us at multiple spots. He's smart enough to handle and 3, even 2-eye if you need to. So that's kind of the role he's trying to carve out for himself, and it's really competitive in the room.
Do you think that Sealer is sort of destined to end his career underrated just the way he began it?
No, I don't think he's underrated. I mean, I know, like, some of you guys may say that. I promise you, a lot of these old linemen he's going against out there on Sundays, like, they don't think he's underrated, you know. But is it an added chip for him? Sure. You know, it's honestly an added chip for me as a coach when you hear people say that about the guy. But, I mean, he's the only guy with back-to-back 10-sack seasons. I don't know, you know, how that happens. And I don't think he's destined for that. I think, you know, where he's at in his career, like, his technique and fundamentals have come on in kind of the middle of his pro football career, you know. And there's a lot of players with his length and size that play the game the right way and play for a long time. And I think this guy is going to play for a long time.